What's up, guys? I'm Jamie Otts. Y'all have seen me racing a little bit here and there and everywhere. Could give you kind of an idea of what we're doing here. We're starting this to start letting you know who the Memphis 10 guys are. We're going to do this through the whole team at some point and let you get to know everybody, where they come from, what they do. Some of these guys grudge race. They may have a big old motor and they tell you it's a little old motor. They may have a little old motor and tell you it's a big old motor because they want you to think they're badder than what they are. But we're just regular down-home people, so I'm gonna start off with myself. I was born in Marks, Mississippi. Moved to Memphis when I think I was around 2 years old. I grew up in Memphis till I was about 15. My dad was a hot rodder my entire life. He was one of those old school hot rodders. He'd bring something home and had dents and scratches and raggedy, and man, he'd get out there and fix it himself. And he was the one that got me into hot rodding and making me like race cars. When I was 15, I had a 67 Camaro 327 4-speed. You know, we thought that thing was bad. My dad had motorcycles. I remember a friend of my dad's drove my Camaro, and my dad rode a motorcycle racing. And that's, you know, races like that. He had an old Camaro 377 4-speed car back when I was young, 2 4s. I mean, that's what got me hooked, I guess. I drove a 67 Camaro to high school. It wouldn't hardly burn rubber, so some of you guys that ain't got no power know about what I'm fixing to say. We'd put that thing in neutral and rev it up and slam it into gear, and that's how we'd burn rubber, neutral slamming. Well, we always thought we were smarter than our parents, so I went to school one day and a bunch of people was out there, and I'm gonna show. I put that thing in neutral and rev it up and slam the gear back. When I did, it tore the drive shaft out of it, and I knew I was in trouble. So football team was out there practicing, so I had them guys help me push it out of the way, called my dad. I said, "Hey Dad, the car just broke. I don't know, the drive shaft just fell out." He said, "The drive shaft fell out?" And I was like, "Yeah." He said, "Okay, well, I'll be up there." So he sends another guy that helped him all the time to come up there. And when they got there, the guy, and I remember we didn't have cell phones back then, so I had to wait till we get back home for him to snitch on me. He's like, where the drive shaft was, there's U-joint pieces everywhere. So, and 2 black marks about this long, so he knew then what I'd been doing. But since then, man, I was hooked on racing. I raced from Malibus to Camaros coming up. I eventually got into radial racing. I met James Johnson, man. He come a big piece that's helped me go faster. James has been a big piece of it. We didn't have no money, man. I had an old cheap car that we raced, and it didn't work good, so me and James would pull the motor, the transmission, the wiring, the fuel system, everything out of one and put it in the other to try to go faster. Well, it didn't act right, so we pulled all that back out and put it in another, and man, we just did what we had to do to go as fast as we could back then. Me and Tony Peace and Danny Peace has known each other since I was 14, 15 years old. I met them guys hot rodding. Them and my dad picked back and forth, and you know, we had fun back then. Tony's a little older than Danny both. So Tony's telling me, "Hey man, we're doing a bunch of street racing now." When I was younger, at a younger age, we street raced a bunch. There wasn't no tracks for us really to race at, so we street raced mostly. Then I went to radial racing, and we did that a bunch, and we eventually went 440s with a nitrous X275 car, big block nitrous deal. Shane Crowd and some more friends helped me a lot with it, and but Tony Peace is on me, "Man, you need to come do this street race stuff again. Come do it." So I tried to take the car that I radial raced with and street race, and the car didn't work like I wanted it to. So I took and got rid of this car, and I got a car from a guy local that was a tube chassis car. I went and took this car and started racing with it on the street and on the going to the track some, the no prep stuff, and it run really, really good. About this time, they were starting, JJ the Boss and Dennis Bailey, a bunch of them guys were starting the Memphis Street Outlaws, so I went and kind of did that stuff with them for a while, and it started not being my cup of tea there for a while. I was like, man, this just ain't for me. I'm gonna go back radial racing. So did some trading with Dennis Bailey and got a radial car he had, and he got this car, and he raced it a while, and I went kind of messing with this radial car again, and here come Tony Peace again. "Man, look, I want you to do this with us, man. We're gonna make big things happen." And at the time, Tony Peace and JJ was like the main guys over the Memphis Street Outlaws team. Like they were, like Tony was the one that started it, and he kind of brought JJ in, and then they just kind of got it going real good. Tony's back on me. Hey man, you need to get you something. So I go out and look, and I don't, not knocking them, but I'm just not a Mustang guy or nothing like that. I want something old school. So I had an RV at the time, and I traded this RV for what later became the killer cab. It was a 55 Chevy. This thing had red and blue and purple and white stripes and a hood scoop this big, and had a Fulton 632 in it, just an old school tube chassis race car. Ricky Williams, a good friend of ours, has some land down and way out, I'm talking about in the cotton fields. The road is so narrow that JJ, I would have been scared to flag it. There was no room in between the cars. I think that's why JJ got where he jumped so high, is because he was hoping he'd be high enough the cars would go under him, because this was a dangerous, dangerous road. But we did it. So that way I outrun O Heavy and Precious Cooper. I outrun Jeff Williams, and I had to outrun Precious to get back on the top 10 list, and kept racing that. And everybody's asked me, what are you gonna call this car? Like, it still had all these ugly colors. Man, I was like, it's hard for me to come with the name of a car. I want it to fit it, and I want it to be something I like. So my son comes to me and says, Dad, let's call it Killer Cab and put a monster on the side of it. I said, okay. I said, you want that, so that's what we gotta do, I guess. So we did it. The car later became well known. A lot of people liked it. It was something different. So we go back, we race Oklahoma. I race Dominator. We go out there and test Friday night. I make a real good hit Friday night. Ryan Martin, a bunch of them guys come to me. It's like, man, that thing is rolling out here. We probably made the fastest hit on the street that night. The next night, the race night, I raced Dominator. Man, oh Joe, me and him picked back and forth, and I got lucky. Joe was having issues, but I got out on Joe pretty good, a pretty good jump. The car broke the timing belt to about 400 foot, but I was out far enough that he couldn't come back around me. But it was a fun race, great time. So anyway, here we come. We start doing, I start doing the show stuff. It's fun, man. Had a great time. I met people I never would have got to meet. Went to places I probably never would have went. I'm glad for that. It was a great time. I appreciate JJ bringing me in, letting me do those things, because that's things I never would have got to do if I wouldn't have been with that deal. But it just got where it wasn't for me. Me, James, my wife, we always made all our decisions what we were doing kind of together. We were always together, so I talked to them, and I tell James, I tell my wife, I'm done. I'm not going back. I don't want to go back. I'm not going. I'm going to go back to racing with racing, real people, and have fun. So I leave there, and there's a few other little local groups racing like in our area. And I thought, man, I'd like to have a good group of just regular, everyday people we can part with at the racetrack, that we can have cookouts with, get to know their families, and just make it be a lot of fun and let it be back to the regular person. So a few of us got together and started the Memphis 10. A lot of the guys I race with now, I've known most of my life. Some of the guys I haven't known. But the Memphis 10's become one big race family. During this time, a little Scrappy back there, that's a car I had once before, a little street car, and I bought it and sold it, and the day I sold it, I regretted selling it. I wanted it back, man, I just wanted it back bad. And I actually had to pay $7,000 more to get it back than what I sold it for in the same exact shape. But I wanted it back. But I want it to be a real street car, so we put an LS turbo in it, and it had a stock block deal in it first. Now it's got a Mass Motorsports 427 deal in it. It's fun. It's a fast, fun little car for something that you can drive anywhere. It's full exhaust, full interior, cranks by the key, no toggle switches, real deal street car. I mean, we can drive this thing anywhere we want to go. Hydraulic roller, pump gas, or pump E85. I mean, we can drive it just anywhere you want to go. It's just a fun, great little car. It was kind of dominant in our Memphis 10 racing series this year. It's really too fast for how safe it is to have no roll cage, a bench seat. Well, it's got a 6-point cage, but a bench seat and all that. So it's getting to the point that if I ever were to wreck it at how fast it is, it could probably kill me or be pretty bad for me. Plus, I really like the car. It's a 65 hardtop Chevy too. It's still leaf spring stock suspension. I mean, so it's a car I'd like to keep forever, and at some point, you know, pass it down. Josh Elam at Dyno Speed, man, that dude come in and helped me, and has been a humongous help. If I didn't have him, I probably would have a carburetor back on there in nitrous, because I'd be lost and not know what I'm doing. But he's been a humongous help. I was wanting me a truck, an old C10 with like air ride and stuff on it, and I seen one on Facebook one day, and I went and dealt the guy out of it, got it, brought it home, and this is the truck that you guys have seen me burning rubber in and doing all the stuff I did. We actually took it off that frame, the body off that frame, and put it on one. I had JF Hot Rods do me a 4-link and make a street truck out of it, and it was an absolute blast. I mean, it would burn rubber at 80 miles an hour. Just a fun truck, and we drove it to the racetrack and went 540s with it, driving it there and driving it back home. So it was fun, stout truck. It went from a TRE 632 big block to a LS turbo, and I guess you know where I'm at now. I love the turbo stuff. If you see behind me now, that's it now. I took it and I was like, man, I want a race truck. I want to do everything I can to get it light, but I want something different, so I want an old race truck. So Mags Fab Works in Fulton did a bunch of work to this truck for me. They cut the front off. We put fiberglass front cap, fiberglass doors, moved turbos to the rear, did everything possible we could to make this thing as light as it could possibly be. And it was still almost 3,400 pounds with me in it, race ready, with no weight added, no nothing. And it just, I missed my street truck. So we got a race coming up in a few weeks we got to go to, and after that it's going to be turned back into a street truck, back something I can drive and have fun. I mean, it's just fun getting my boy in there, and we just go out burning rubber and just having fun, and I like that part of it. So I'm now in the process of building an S10 for our street stuff. I'm not an S10 guy, but I'm definitely not a Mustang guy. But Scrappy is just so heavy at like race weight, it's almost 3,500 pounds. Most people don't believe that, but it's a heavy car to do some of the stuff we're doing. So I'm building me an S10 now for the same thing that's going to be as light as I can possibly get it. A lot of you seen me race. I had an orange 68 Camaro that I raced this past year. Great car, but I used to not really like these Chevy 2s. But once I had a little Scrappy and I started seeing more of them with them sitting right and doing that, now they're really my favorite car. So I got a car that was built by Woodside Motorsports out of North Carolina. I think it's Rocky Mount, North Carolina, if I ain't mistaken. He had did the chassis on the car, and that was it. He stopped there. No body work, no panels mounted, no anything like that. Eric Phillips, a few friends of mine has come over here. We've been busting ass on it, and it is a back half bolt-in front clip. It has a stock firewall. We have smoothed the stock firewall in it. We have put stock floor pans back in it. It'll be legal for any kind of that type stuff we want to do, but it is definitely a better car than what I had. The other car, I was at 3,200 pounds almost to be race ready, and this car is going to be a good bit lighter, we hope. But it's a more safer car. This car is a 6.0 certified double frame rail back half deal. So if I wreck, hopefully it'll let me maybe walk away from it. We keep racing. We do a Memphis 10-point series, and we have a great time, you know, racing with all the local people, and that's back where I'm at. I love that, man. It's great to see that we go to these racetracks and everybody's at the racetracks, kids have got to know each other and having a great time, and this kid's going to stay with this one, and this one's going to stay with that one, and it's just become an absolute blast for us to race. And you'll catch yourself, you know, sometimes you'll catch yourself rooting for the guys on the other teams when they're racing people that's not part of your team, just because you've got to know them and your kids has got to know them, or their kids, and it's just become something fun. During all this, Bahia Racetrack becomes available to get. Everybody that knows me knows that I have like 6,000 things going on at once, so I only do about 2% of what I'm supposed to do. on each one, so everything kind of gets put to the back. It's hard for me to stay on one thing. So, you know, I've had some guys come in and help me with the track. James Youngblood's been a big help over there and helped us get things lined out. Brandon, he helps me with, like, he learned the computer system somewhat, because we definitely don't know that. So all that stuff's been a big help. Everybody thinks at some point, if you're a racer, boy, I'd love to have a racetrack. Well, it's a big pain in the ass sometimes. If you do things this way, this racer don't like it. If you do it that way, then that one don't like it. And it gets to be a big pain sometimes. But it's something good. We're trying our best to bring this back to a local, fun, down-home, fun racetrack. And we're going to have point series this coming year, and let it be, you know, about the regular guy. You know, we're not. A lot of these places around here, they have these. All right, it's $250 to enter and $5,000 to win or $10,000 to win. And all that's cool, but we're gonna lower. We're getting our entry fees cheaper again. It's gonna be $100 entry, and we're gonna pay back 8 spots. You know, and because these guys that bust their ass every week on their hot rod, no matter if you got a $100,000 hot rod or a $10,000 hot rod, the $10,000 one is just as important to that guy as it is the guy with the $100,000. So we want them guys to enjoy themselves and think that they have a chance to at least come home with some gas money, entry fee money, something. That's the direction we're headed with it. We're looking forward to 2021. It's going to be some good racing, and for the people that whoop my ass this year right here, I am kicking your ass this coming year. Whatever it takes. If I ain't the fastest, I'm going to get with the fastest so he can help me try to be the fastest. So I don't know how that'll work. Sometimes it don't work, but we're going to try it. We hope to have the Chevy 2 and the truck both finished by probably mid-January, we hope, so we can be testing in February for the races in March is the plan. You guys pay attention to the Memphis 10 page. If any of you guys are into just the country fun down home racetracks, come check us out at Bahia. Send us a message on our page and let us know that you have a country fun racetracks. We'd love to come do some racing with you guys. We don't come there to compete against you. Well, we do, but we come there to hang out and have fun, and that's what we want it to be about. Look forward to more of these videos. Stay tuned to our page. See all the upcoming events we're going to do. Send us some of your upcoming events. We're going to come have fun. Y'all come have fun with us. See y'all next time. Thank you.